Good afternoon, both. How are we?
Good,
Okay.
good. Great week so far, Jamie.
Thank you. Yeah,
I've learned a lot and been entertained.
it's been great actually. I think today is obviously a day of fraud prevention. I always knew this was going to be a busy day, but more people have logged in to look at the sessions today because it's been a really ram-packed agenda today.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I know that yourself and Deborah,
Mm-hmm.
it's at the end of the day for us today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody's really enjoyed it. We've had some brilliant
Good.
comments on social media, and I think we'll just get into it because we've got so much to go through. If that's okay with you.
Yes. Yep. Works for me.
Cool. So the day was kicked off with Brendan from Fiscal. So what were your thoughts, Gareth and Mary, on Brendan's presentation?
I liked it. What I liked is he brought up the fact, which I think is particularly relevant given everything that we're going through, about new suppliers. And I mean, I know some industries don't have new suppliers, but I know from talking actually to friends of mine that in certain industries, the PP&E, for example, and food, that there's a lot of interest. And so some people are ending up with new suppliers, maybe more than they would have in the past. So I was really pleased that he talked about it, and he talked about what you should be doing, and I liked that a lot. I also liked that he brought up the fact that if you have a lot of credits with somebody, maybe you should take a look at it. It may be fraud, maybe another problem, but I think he had some really relevant points. So I'm going to go back and listen to him again.
Perfect. Gareth?
Yeah, for me, sorry, Mary, put your hands in your ears. I think so far this has been my favourite
That I
one
agree.
that I've listened to. And the reason I say that is because he came back with like what Mary said, some 5 top things to do. He sort of, the way he talks as well is very clear, to the point, and insightful. So he started off his meeting by like sort of saying, everybody calm down,
Right.
everyone is, nobody that's coming out of this, even if their sales are improving, they're still affected in another way by getting the materials and things like that, because that's closed. So everybody is suffering no matter what. And I thought that was really nice way of relaxing people. He gave some good feedbacks about how staff are affected, IT, fraud's going to increase, how people are relaxing, maybe on the checks because they're trying to, like Mary's
Right.
elaborate on, people are pushing through. But his 5 top back, in case people didn't listen, was cleanse your anything over 18 months old, low usage, multiple accounts, get that all sorted. Be proactively monitor new suppliers and bank changes. So have a look at all of those. Check your reports more so. Enforce your segregation of duties, something that we chatted about in our group. So make sure you monitor them and recirculate your policies and use reports again. Spot check irregular payments. Just have a quick overview of your total payments, see if there's anything abnormal there or big numbers. Also tighten up on your one-time payments, make sure you're on top of those. And again, check for the spikes, and like Mary said, go and chase those credits. So I think it's very good out of everything I've listened to for an AP manager to refresh themselves and take action on those 5 top points.
Great, thank you, Gareth. As I say, Fiscal Technologies are a brand new partner of ours this year. I've worked alongside them for a long time. I've known about their products and services, but I agree. I thought, Brendan did a great job. It was very educational, his content. But again, they're a new partner of ours, and obviously we'd encourage people to check out Fiscal and see what they can offer. And then straight after that, at 11, we were joined by Murray, who, again, a brand new partner of ours, and he was talking around cyber security and 3 simple steps. So what were your views on that, Gareth and Mary?
Well,
Go ahead. You go first this time, Gareth.
I like that he identified the different types. So you've got the ones that everyone's aware of, like phishing and man in the middle, if you want to call it that, ransomware and malware. But also he was highlighting like human error, leaving your PC left on, sharing passwords, leaving your laptop there while you went to dinner unsecure. So, somebody could take that laptop and then, if they're clever enough, download all the information. Being up to date on security as well, So making sure your patches are up to date. So like Windows 10 has regular updates. The reason for that is the security. And if you're not doing the regular updates, you're exposing yourself to what the fraudsters can hack. So it was nice to not just have the general mainstream reasons, but all these other ones that you probably don't really think about and probably do on a daily basis as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've got examples, both of you, where people share somebody's off sick and they tell them the password so they can get in because they need to get the payment file processed or whatever.
And that just opens the door for future possible future trouble. I also like that he talked about the fact that it wasn't only money. You know, we're in accounts payable, so we always think about money, but it also can be about data. And there've been a few, I mean, not only the data breaches that, you know, you hear about the credit card companies, the big ones that you see on TV or in the news, but there have also been some huge data breaches that are focused directly on accounts payable. So I was glad that he focused on that. I like that he gave the descriptions so that, you know, in case some people didn't know exactly what the different types were. And he won my heart, so to speak, when he started talking about how important education was. Because one of my big things is when you hear about a new fraud, and we've seen there are tons of them, they keep coming out, is make sure you educate everyone. And that's, I like to say education is the silver bullet, but especially when it comes to fraud.
Brilliant, thank you. I think that's so eloquently put that I can't really add much to that. But as a brand new partner, I totally agree. I thought the webinar itself was exceptional, and yeah, welcome to the fold. Straight after that, we had Matthew Hammond from Payable, who talked about why e-invoice projects fail and how to ensure yours doesn't. So what was your views on that one?
Well, I liked that for the US folks, I think a little bit more perhaps than the UK folks, because we seem to be having a problem over here of people who are starting e-invoicing programs, but for whatever reason, they don't get used, or they don't get used as much as they should. And that's emerging as the big issue. So I liked that he talked about it. He gave questions for people to ask, and I'm glad that he brought it up and he showed it as an issue. And I'm going to close before I turn it over to Gareth. He had, I thought, a great saying. He said, walk a mile in your supplier's shoes. Think about them when you're setting up the program. Don't only think about what's good for your company, but think about what's good for your suppliers.
Great, thank you, Mary. Gareth?
What Matthew came across for me, which was quite fresh, was most people think of the invoicing as the end part of having the all singing and dancing P2P end to end. But he sort of like said, no, it's not. These are the things that can go wrong. You know, people are going, is the cost over the value? Is that fair enough? Is it an open fixed network? What's the flexibility of the supplier? So he really asks some really deep questioning on it. So where people like myself thought it was just a case of in it plonks and it works wonderful and you know everything just goes through automated, he showed that it's not as simplistic as that. So that was good to me. I like the fact that he said don't treat it as a IT project, treat it as a change project as well, and don't do it all in one big bang. Do that part separately. Now, it may be good to get him back and elaborate more on why do it separately, because I've done both sides, so it would be interesting to see what his thoughts on why he said that point.
That's a good idea.
Perfect. Straight after that, we had the expert panel, and again, it's been the highlights of the week, I think, all the panels, and you know, I think we've had so much discussion, and today, you know, we could have, let's be honest, Mary, we could have gone on for 3 hours talking, you know, today.
We could have.
And, you know, I think we had, you know, a whole range of experts join us again. Deborah Richards joined us, yourself, Mary, and then obviously a bunch of UK folk. And in my opinion, again, that as I said, the panels have been enlightening. I'd just love to hear everybody's stories. We had Chris Sanders join us again, and he gave us the view from a credit. Yeah. You know, he talks more than the three of us put together. But you know, again, he was so enlightening that, you know, his views, his stories were great. So again, you know, I know I've given my view first on that, but I've really enjoyed those panels.
I love those panels, and I give Chris a lot of credit for being willing to come back and mix with us. But he is quite eloquent. But I really love that you have the AP professionals on who are sharing their experiences from the field. Not like, a lot of times when I talk, it's real easy for me to be up here and talk about best practices and what you should do, but they're talking about what they're dealing with every day and how they're dealing with it. So I loved that panel. I just loved that panel. And I liked the kind of the last point that several people came up with, me too, is that AP professionals, when they think something's going wrong or something's doesn't smell quite right, they should speak up. And we need to do a better job at that.
Totally agree, Mary. Gareth?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have somebody from the other side of the fence so enthusiastically join AP, and you would think he was part of AP, not AR. It's quite nice from that point of view, and also value AP, because I mean, from my past, AR or credit control get a lot more focus, because cash is king is normally
Right.
the motto. Several companies. The last company I was at, it was like an hour and a half of credit control, and then AP had about 2 minutes. And you're like, what? So I stomped my feet about that. And the next time we had a quarterly meeting of everybody together, AP had about half an hour. So great improvement, and we had lots of things to sing about.
Yeah.
But from the talk, like just to probably just go and have a listen, and our summaries would summarize what we felt about fraud. There's a lot to it, like Jamie said earlier, and we could sit here probably another hour chatting just amongst ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So go and have a listen to all the points. Like I said in my summary, have clear documentation on your processes and your policies. Have something very simplistic so that people will follow those, and keep gurging it out every so often so that it's fresh in their minds and they don't forget about it.
Perfect, thank you, Gareth. And again, so we were joined by Marie Simpson and Diane Bamford as well today. So they joined the panel today for the first time, and I thought they spoke really well as well. So
They did.
Thank you to everybody for joining. So then straight after that session, we had a session from the guys at Use. Emily Vincent joined us, and she was talking about accounts payable automation and how it can not only reduce costs, but can actually prevent fraud as well. So what were your views on that one, Mary and Gareth?
Do you want to go first, Gareth, or you want me to?
Well, Mary, she nearly trumped you in your extravagant words. And I mean, some of them I'm going to be looking a right idiot in a minute when I try and pronounce them or say them. But I'm sure this must be Mary's best friend, that she's coming out with some very words and terminologies. So for me, you could probably break it into 2 parts. There was a factual part to it and statistician sort of view of it, and then the other side of it was their product, alongside with a client-based reference or acknowledgement of how they've done the change. So I thought that was quite nice to see a client's view of it, not just the company's view of it. But some of the things that sort of came out of there that surprised me was 25% of companies had lost nearly $750,000 in the last 2 years. This can be from Dell, Amazon, Facebook, down to little so-called companies. And the reason is that fraudsters can operate a lot easier now. They've got Photoshop, social media, out of office, using that to their advantageous, and wire transfers make it very quick to get the money and disappear. One thing that did shock me was the 55% internal and 45% internal, because we agreed on our chat most of our frauds were internal. So that was a bit of a conflict for me. But then, like I said, she started showing her product, and then there was a few more facts within that, like saying that the manual processing, 31% paid later, higher costs, longer processing times, 70% more likely for fraud, and very poor compliance. Compared to automated, costs can be 80% cheaper, 20 times more quicker to process end-to-end, full instant visibility end-to-end, and a better security. And they also offered a try to buy. There was something that stood out, but I can't remember. She was on about their system looks at the metadata, and now here comes the big word, is it steganography, which is something to do with like the background of the parasites on your invoice. I mean, I never knew that occurred, but the metadata, I have done that before. So that's like the back end of what you visually see on the computer. And I thought that was very clever, and that's probably a trump in their card, where when people change things, it will show, especially things like in invoice changes, etc. So they can see that somebody's added a picture or something in the back coding of that page. And I thought that would be a really good going forward way of reducing fraud.
Who would have ever thought 5 years ago that we'd have to look for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was not surprised at the 55% number, Gareth. And the reason for that is severalfold. I actually always did think that external fraud was bigger than internal fraud, mainly for several reasons. Number one, external fraud tends to be for bigger dollars. When we talk about internal fraud, not always, but it's a lot of travel and entertainment stuff or using the company credit card. And when we have external fraud, it's, wire transfer fraud for, 2 million pounds or, so I wasn't surprised to hear her say that. The other thing is sometimes, at least on this side of the pond, when it comes to what we call expense report fraud, companies, and this eludes me, they don't call it fraud, they call it card abuse. And to me, you took something you weren't entitled to, you stole it, that's fraud. But okay, I'm more like you, Gareth. I'm kind of black and white when it comes to those things. So I think the 55% did not surprise me, because you can have one big fraud and some smaller ones. So you're right. I loved her talk. And I liked the point, which I think this is important, and I don't think everybody realizes, is the price of some of these new technologies has come way down. So it is now affordable almost to everybody, depending upon what model you choose. When we first started talking about this, it was $1 million to get a new system, or £1 million, and that was just out of the reach. Nobody was, except the very big companies, was going to spend that kind of money. So I liked her point about it being accessible. And of course, I always like to see a demo when I can see it kind of anonymously sitting in my office. So yeah, good addition to the panel.
Was that 55% based on amount or quantity?
I think they're talking about amounts, not number of transactions.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. So you can have one big, one external fraud that is equal to, 300. Yeah.
I totally agree if it's amount. I'm not surprised. I was more,
Yeah.
I was more to do with the quantity.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, everyone gave lots of examples of people within the company doing it.
Right.
Nobody really gave one outside of it other than Chris. But that was from a different perspective of accounts payable.
People are sometimes reluctant to admit that publicly. The external fraud.
Then we got on to the global experts. Then, so we were joined then by Deborah Richardson, who talked about protecting vendor bank detail changes from fraud, and very much around the UK specifics. And I'll let you two start, and obviously I'll give my view at the end, if that's okay.
I think Deborah's wonderful. She probably knows more about vendor authentication and validation than anybody I know. So actually, when we have a program on vendor validation, I always bring Deborah in, and she broke it down to three levels: authentication, validation, and management. And now more than ever, that's important. The one point that I would point out to people is that in this time that we're going through, it's not impossible, but it's probably unlikely your vendor is going to be setting up a new bank account. So be double, triple, whatever you want to call it, cautious about those requests, because it would have to be an extreme circumstance, I think. That's my opinion. Gareth, do you agree?
Yeah, totally agree. She on one of those, the validating of data, she's got a free download checklist as well. So that might help some people out, especially if it's something that they don't do themselves. So I thought that was nice. One of her quotes was 78% of fraud successfully has happened. In her words, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's a higher percentage of successful fraud. Probably interesting how much of that got recouped. It'd be interesting to know. She pointed
Not
out
much.
yeah. She pointed out that it can take time to get suppliers and infos contact with suppliers now, especially due to the limitations of people on furlong, etc. So that's probably going to make things worse. So she was asking people to be extra mindful of that. And then she also, another good thing, elaborating on our chat that we had earlier as a group, she was on about notifying the source of the change, and also, you know, emailing them back, etc. could be automated. So she saw it able to be done in SAP through their IT team, were able to automate that, but she didn't see it on any other system that she's worked with. So again, if people are on SAP, maybe that's something they could add in and go and talk to their IT teams as an extra good little tip as well.
Yeah. I know when I get those notifications, I also get them from my bank when I set up a new payee. It does give me a little bit of extra comfort.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think Deborah is obviously very well versed in vendor setups. I mean, I think she's a fan, in fairness, of automation. I think she really wants to push that envelope, if you like, and move towards automation. So remove all the manual steps if possible. Talk about supplier onboarding systems, vendor boarding systems. Now, I know you and I agree that, Mary, that certain businesses push back on those, you know, certain vendors. But again, you know, you've got to look at it from the control point of view. But yeah, I thought that Deborah's presentation was excellent. And I know she has a bunch of these on her website. So again, like Gareth, I'd encourage you to go and have a look at Deborah's website, look at listen to some of her webinars, because she's just like yourself, Mary, just lots and lots of knowledge around the whole vendor setup type thing.
Right. Yep.
So then, lastly, we were joined by some unknown person called Mary Schaefer, and Mary gave us basically, you know, I won't steal your thunder here, Mary, but again, you know, our keynote and co-host for the week, your fraud protection during the COVID was superb, and I'll let Gareth start so he can.
Okay, well, he can start and finish, because I think it would be really rude for me to get up here and point out the little foibles or the things I think I could have done better. So,
well,
Gareth?
she was all right, wasn't she? You know, it was okay. No, Mary knows I love her. I've got a few of her books, even before we had the AP Association. I liked the saying, crooks don't go on holiday.
Right.
The other thing that you shocked me with was that fraudsters can stay on the line after you put the phone down for an extra 5 minutes.
I fell on the floor when I heard that. I fell on the floor when I heard that.
Yeah. I like the other one as well. You didn't make it all about business related. You gave us examples of personal scams like the Tesco voucher. So that was another little touch of not making it all, you know, business focused, etc. But on the business side of things, you went over the key fraud protection of passwords, educating, which we've talked about, security protocols, best practice controls, segregation of duties, etc. Again, it was interesting to know that 46% were working more hours, but of that now 27 say that they're back to normal. So that was quite interesting as well. And what are that other 21% doing? You know, hopefully they're listening to this the whole day today, because I think there's a lot of things in there for them to apply, even if their companies aren't supporting them with X, Y, Z. They can get tips out of there that you don't need the latest technology. You can still do steps to help prevent. And I think, you know, personally, I'd go over the day if I was an AP manager in that particular scenario where I wasn't getting the support and I was worrying, etc. And on this 21% where it isn't normal still, I would be looking at those. And I think that, like you mentioned, the going over the processes, looking at the outer step processes due to the circumstances that you're in now. Can these tasks be done in the future if it happens again, and work with, if in the old ways, if we do go back to that way, highlight the weaknesses, make sure they're on your audit reports, etc., and what you're doing to trying to resolve them. And then, are these out of date processes? Can we change them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot coming out of this, and hopefully most of it's for the good.
Yeah, I totally agree, Mary. And I think, obviously, I don't need to comment on your presentation. You and I have done a
Thank
bunch
you.
of these, and I think, the way you present and even the graphics that you use, I think it's in a light-hearted fashion, but the message is very, very clear. And I think the
Thank
audience
you.
get it, and obviously you've got a lovely presentation style, but the content is just, it's unquestionable. And I think the whole fraud thing in this COVID scenario, and I think we were talking about this as a group earlier as a panel, is that fraudsters, like you say, don't take a holiday and actually ramp up in these times.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just, it was a lovely way to finish the end, because it was we will get through this. Keep an eye on what's going on. Keep doing the day job, but just be a little bit even more increased in terms of watching out for these frauds.
Yeah.
I thought it was an excellent way to finish the day, and yeah, it was lovely to have you as the keynote for the end of the day, Mary.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
And look, and as I say, as an overriding day, I mean, fraud is a horrible subject, and it should never be in anybody's business. But let's be honest, in accounts payable, absolutely, it's a big thing at the moment. And I know, Mary, you're releasing a book. I know we spoke about it earlier this week.
Yes, I finished it last night.
Did you really? So when's it actually going to get published? When's this coming out there, Mary?
I think with a little bit of luck, we're aiming for June 1.
Wow. Okay. And
So
and I'm assuming that you'll post out a link. Well, obviously,
I'll post it on LinkedIn. I'll post it on my website. You won't be able to get away from us. And I will send you a copy.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mary. And then what we'll do is we'll make sure that what we'll probably do, if it's okay with you, Mary, is we'll probably do some live sessions like this where you can talk a little bit about some of the excerpts, and we'll do an interview session if that's okay, because I think it's a brilliant topic, getting back to work in, after this long layoff and looking at the controls. So as and when that's ready, let us know, and we'll get back to these lives.
Okay, perfect.
Today has been superb. I know we're all very tired. I know, Mary, you've got to go and do a full day again now. Tomorrow,
and now we're with you.
We've got to go on to another one now. But tomorrow is the last day, but it's the subject is the new world. So again, we're joined by people like Karen Young, a whole array of presenters tomorrow. And I think tomorrow's, when we go and do this session tomorrow, I'll be looking forward to not only looking back over the whole week, so we won't go into masses of detail, but I think I'd really like to finish the day and the week on some form of celebration. So I really want to sort of, really give a real big shout out to all the people that have taken part, all the speakers, nearly 50 speakers, with, I don't know, 40 odd, slots throughout the week, all the comments that we've had. If we can summarize that tomorrow, that'd be lovely as well.
Great. Thanks. Bye. See you soon. Bye, Gareth.
Yeah, guys. See you, bye.